We've crunched the numbers, scrolled through reviews, and consulted the almighty Metacritic to bring you the lowdown on the decade's 8 worst MMORPGs. But before we start, make sure to hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss our epic gaming content. Now let's jump into the not-so-awesome side of MMO history. Kicking off on our number 8 spot is Dungeons & Dragons. Dungeons & Dragons is a super popular tabletop game loved by many. There's an online version of it, and it's good at turning the rules into a video game. But the problem is, it's not completely free to play. To get all the cool stuff, like expansions and XP tomes, you need to pay a lot of money. It can end up costing you $100 to really enjoy the game. Next on our number 7 spot is Allods Online. At first sight, Allods Online might seem like it's trying to emulate the World of Warcraft, featuring factions and quest structures reminiscent of the popular game. However, unlike World of Warcraft, which has continuously improved its quest, world, and overall design with each expansion, Allods Online has chosen a different path by expanding its microtransactions to cater to big spenders. The game includes loot boxes that contain some of the most powerful and essential gear necessary for all players. While having a ship might be a cool feature, it loses its appeal when the game offers outdated and enjoyable quests. The subjective nature of fun side, the quests and combat on Allods Online don't bring anything groundbreaking to the table. And then on our number 6 spot goes to Vanguard Saga of Heroes. Enthusiasts of Vanguard will recount the tale of how this once promising game fell victim into a hurried release schedule and ongoing bug fixing, and they are correct on all accounts. Crafted by experienced MMO game developers who had previously contributed to EverQuest, Vanguard aimed to revive that enchanting experience in a more contemporary setting. Following Sigil Games' fallout with Microsoft, Sony Online Entertainment stepped in to assist with shipping the game. However, a significant hurdle emerges as they impose a tight deadline on the team to complete Vanguard swiftly. The consequence was a launch marred by critical bugs and problems, requiring years to rectify. Unfortunately, the game met its demise in 2014, and Vanguard is now remembered as a blockbuster video game with one of the most troubled launches in history. Our number 5 spot is Defiance. Borderlands created a stir upon its 2009 release by cleverly blending the FPS and ARPG genres, featuring randomized weapons as loot and enjoyable cooperative play. Defiance attempted to transplant this gaming style into MMO realm, striving to be one of the few console MMOs accessible in 7th generation machines and PCs. However, the outcome was chaotic. Bugs hindered quest completion, animations were awkward, making combat unsatisfying. The absence of weapon feedback through sounds or animation exacerbated these issues. Although the story had some intrigue, players would find more satisfaction watching the TV show that accompanied the game, at least for its 3 reasons before cancellation. The idea of symbiotic relationship between a video game and a TV show seemed groundbreaking, yet the reality was limited to mere player cameos or even events without substantial impact. Claiming the number 4 spot is FireFall. The impact of a single player on a game's perception and management is exemplified in FireFall, a third-person shooter MMO led by Mark Kern, a former Blizzard employee. Mark Kern established Red 5 Studios primarily composed of World of Warcraft developers, with the intention of creating a third-person shooter featuring competitive game modes in an expansive MMO universe. Unfortunately, due to poor decision from the studio's management and Mark's unwavering convictions in his approach, the game quickly faced demise. In December 2015, the development team diligently worked to support FireFall, only to be informed that they wouldn't be compensated for their recent efforts. Red 5 Studios eventually closed down in July 2016. The third spot goes to APB Reloaded. APB Reloaded, abbreviated for All Points Bulletin, presents a exceptionally brilliant concept of an MMO title, essentially offering a cops versus robbers experience in an MMO setting. However, its execution leaves much to be desired. Indicated by the Reloaded in the title, APB wasn't always a free-to-play game. Its original version was more ambitious but arguably worse than the Reloaded variant. The new version adopted a free-to-play model but introduced a premium, optional subscription that leaned toward being pay-to-win. When APB functioned well, it excelled. Whoever attempts this genre again and execute it effectively has the potential to create the next MMO powerhouse in the industry. We are now at the number 2 spot, and that is Defiance 2050. You heard it right. Defiance appears twice in our list. Tryon Worlds announced the game's arrival on 8th generation consoles including PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. However, what players got was essentially a reissue of the same game with minimal improvements. Not all cosmetics transitioned between both versions, leaving veteran Defiance players without items they purchased in the previous release. Changes included some class overhauls with new abilities, and a few weapons were replaced or modified. Unfortunately, there were no animation overhauls, few bug fixes, and a lack of visual enhancements. To make matters worse, the game was aggressively and confusingly promoted as an entirely new video game rather than a substantial update. Last but not the least is Infestation Survival, formerly known as War Z. Infestation Survivor Stories, previously known as the War Z, stands as a masterpiece in poor design and public relations. This game epitomized false advertising, a toxic developer environment, and an enjoyable gameplay. This DayZ replica throws players into a vast map infested with zombies, but many of the game's promised features such as large map and skills were missing from the actual product. Hammerpoint, the developers of War Z, attempted to justify their claims without success. They were compelled to change the game's name from the War Z to Infestation because of the striking resemblance to an upcoming movie titled World War Z. It's widely considered one of the worst games released in this decade, if not ever. These MMORPGs, ranked among the decade's worst by Metacritic, showcase the challenge faced by the developers, from technical woes to lackluster gameplay. They serve as a reminder that not every online adventure has been a smooth one. As we look forward, let's hope these lessons contribute to more immersive and player-friendly experiences in the future. Thanks for exploring the darker side of MMOs with us. Stay tuned for more gaming insights. Thank you so much for watching until the end.